record. I think we are good to go. I'm going to admit all. All right. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, everyone. Let's see. We have a big screen going, so I'm only seeing maybe half of you. Oh, excellent. We have some new people logging in. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for coming. We have some more people coming in here. Yeah, bear with me for the first few minutes just while I admit everyone. But thank you so much for joining us. This is the Right to Vote Zoom Artist Talk. I love that most of this show has been a little bit unconventional, but that's the world we're living in. And so I'm so appreciative just for everyone, participating and all just kind of, adapting to this crazy new way of talking about and sharing art. I am Sarah Swift. I'm the gallery director here at Hera. I helped kind of put this together with all of our fabulous artists and board. We've got some more people coming in. Excellent. Hi, new artists, welcome. And actually, as we have a bunch of new people, I will just say, unless I basically call on you to speak about work, I'm gonna have everyone be muted just to eliminate some of the static and craziness that happens while we have such a large group going.
Too much light on our faces.
Hi, Alexandra, how are you?
Hi.
So I was just introducing.
Daryl is here too.
Oh, hi, Daryl.
Hey there, Sarah. I'll be back.
Hi. So we're just saying if everyone doesn't mind muting themselves while people are speaking, and then when I call on them, they can unmute as needed. So yeah, I introduced myself. I'll just say quick again. I'm Sarah Swift, the gallery director here. We do have a big group of Hera members, which is wonderful. We have Uli Bromst, our president. I see Barbara Page, a past president, Alexandra Brokes, one of our founding members, and Vera Levitt, who introduced herself earlier, who's also going to sort of help moderate this a little bit. And I'm sure we have other Hera artists in the mix. I'm just not seeing you on my front page. So thank you guys also for coming.
Donna is here.
Oh yes, I did admit Donna. Donna's here too. Right to Vote is open until November 14th here at Hera Gallery. We are, I'll quickly just say, I think most people know what Hera is, but for those that don't, we are a feminist artist cooperative here in Southern Rhode Island. We are artist run by our members and our board. So much of everything that we do, from our programming to our exhibitions, really is such a group effort, from the ideas to the writing to, putting it all together. So that's, we credit single people for certain things, but so much of this is just a group effort. And so that's, I'll say too, I'm gonna moderate this, but most of today will be you all speaking, because you're the ones that put in the real time in all of the work. And so with that, make sure, I also just wanted to say that all of our programming is also possible because of RISCA, the Champlain Foundation, Friends of Hera, and the Rhode Island Foundation, which we just got a community grant from. So we're very thankful for all of that. But yeah, I will now introduce Mara Trachtenberg. She's one of our board members and a Hera artist. And I'm gonna have her speak just really quickly about coming up with the call and the topic of right to vote. So you can take it away.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming. It's nice to see everybody, and I love seeing everybody's work in our space. It's so exciting. So right to vote. I think I want to reiterate what Sarah was saying about how everything we do at Hera is really a group effort. And mainly because there was a very nice article in our local newspaper about the show today, and it said something about me being the person who did this, and I was like, no, it's never just me. Like, we're always doing everything together, which is one of the beautiful things about being part of a feminist artist cooperative, because I've always really felt that Hera really embodies feminism in a way that I haven't found in many other places. Part of that is our collaborative nature. So we were tossing around a bunch of ideas for our jury shows in 2021. And I think I was probably the one being like, we should do a show about voting. And there was a lukewarm feeling, I feel like. And that, please, Barbara, Alexandra, anybody else who was around for those conversations, correct me if I'm wrong. And then Ellie Brown from the Women's Fund, who I know from some activist work, reached out and said, hey, we're doing this, we're making these banners for a celebration for, the 100 years of women's suffrage. Would Hera want to participate? And after, talking to everybody, because this is how we do things, it's slow sometimes, but we all talked about it. And we decided that, of course, we wanted to do this because, the right to vote is so fundamental to being a citizen of the United States, but it's also, it was a hard fought and hard won right that women got. And, being a feminist gallery, we want to, we always want to sort of, nod our heads to that history. So we decided that we would take the banners, and we decided that it was a great opportunity to have a juried show. And then what was the juried show going to be about? And the idea of, what does it mean to vote, and what the right is, what exactly that right is, and who gets to vote, and who doesn't get to vote, and who decides that. Those are all questions that I think that we're interested in discussing. And it's become, the timing of this, we were supposed to do this show in the spring, but because of COVID, that got shut down. And in some ways, I think it was a divine intervention that we're now doing the show right around the election, where it feels so important to be having this conversation in the light of everything that's going on. So thank you, everybody, for pulling this together, and all the artists and everything. And I'm super excited to hear what everybody has to say. And now I'm going to stop talking. Bye.
Excellent. So yeah, next I will kind of leeway into Women's Fund. So they were the ones, Ellie Brown and Helena Johnson, who created our banners. And they are both fabulous people. I'm going to let them basically speak for themselves. So I'd like to introduce both of them from the Women's Fund.
Okay, so hi everyone. Thanks for having us. Just to clarify, Women's Fund of Rhode Island is a staff of 2 people. Elena is the designer of the banners, just to make that clarification. So I'm the Director of Development and Operations at Women's Fund of Rhode Island, and we're the only organization in Rhode Island dedicated exclusively to gender equity. So we do that through research, advocacy training, grant making, and number of other activities. So this is sort of a sidestep for us, but we thought, it's imperative because we advocate for voting rights, especially this year. So it's imperative that we talk about the history of women's suffrage and some of the problems, and also some of the wonderful activists that have been in Rhode Island for the last 100 years and more, really. More than 150, 200 years. So I connected with Helena, and we worked together for a very long time. And she was very patient, and maybe she can tell you a little bit about her perspective.
Yeah. It's been a long project. Hi, I'm just going to introduce myself. My name is Helena. I'm from Sweden originally, but moved here to US 2.5 years ago with my husband. I got in contact with Ellie. I wanted to do a voluntary project while living here. So Ellie as an art director, and I was a graphic designer for this. So I was provided with the copy and photos and their graphic profile. And Ellie and I worked tight together with this banners. And as I understood, the idea they had for the concept for these banners was this timeline going through from the first women movements to present days, and highlighting different women from these eras. So basically, with that in mind, for this concept with the timeline, I wanted to create a graphic element going from one banner to another, from the first one to the last one. So, and I'm not sure if you've seen all these banners, but there's a dotted line from the first banning and going through, like it's like a red thread through all the banners. So I wanted to like amplify the timeline feeling, and also like frame the sections with the text and the photos, so I kind of guiding the reader, the audience. Yeah, and also we talked about having maybe like an illustration. So for the first banner and the last one, I created an illustration, the group of women, like kind of showing that they're united, even though they're from different eras, they are like united and work towards the same goal. So yeah. From my perspective, it's been fun to work with Ellie. It's been like learningful and coming from another part of the world, taking part of like what happened here, like especially Rhode Island, what I didn't know any of these women and these movements. So it's been a great opportunity for me to work with.
You did a fantastic job. Thank you.
And I wanted to add to, on our website, we do have the PDFs of the full banners of all of the sides. So you can actually go onto our website and really read all of the text. I figured it was insane to try and get photos that could accurately really show all of the text and everything for all of you. And it obviously takes some time to really read through all of them, but they're wonderful and really informative. So yeah, I would definitely suggest everyone get over there and take a look. So yeah, thank you both so much. I will then move on to Lauren, who was our wonderful juror for Right to Vote. She is, and correct me if I'm wrong, I am remembering a lot of people's things here, the curatorial assistant at the museum in Worcester for the print and painting.
Worcester, yep, the Worcester Art Museum in prints, drawings, and photographs, so works on paper.
Excellent. So yeah, you were on for quite a while. We were supposed to do this back in the springtime, and so we were so thrilled that you were still on board to join us this fall. And yeah, I'll have you just speak quickly about your experience jurying the show and
Yeah. Well, I was really excited to have been asked to be a part of this because, first of all, I felt that the topic was incredibly timely and incredibly relevant, given both the anniversary of the passing of the 19th Amendment, but also the current political climate. And so I was really excited about it in terms of its sort of political nature, I think, which is something that I don't always get to do in my line of work. And I also really enjoy being able to work with artists and to sort of help advance artists. And so that was another reason that I was really excited to be a part of this. And, it was really rewarding. It was very difficult. There was a really strong pool of submissions full of excellent work, and it was really difficult to narrow down the field. But I think overall, I'm really happy with the works that were selected. I think that they speak to the sort of general narrative in a really a variety of ways, which I think is really sort of special.
Excellent. Yeah, thank you. I agree. I think one of my favorite things was with your selection, there was such a diversity of work. We have sculpture, we have interactive, we have video, audio, paint, photo, print. Yeah, I mean, literally a little bit of everything, which is so great. So it is really representation from all sides. Excellent. Well, so we will basically start with our artists. And for this part, I am actually going to share my screen with all of you so that we can look at pictures of each of the artworks. And so with this, I do believe I luckily have pretty much a list of everyone who's here, and I had a list of everyone who had signed up. So I think I have a pretty good idea of who's with us to talk and not. But so I will start sharing my screen. And here we go. And so we are, let's see, this. And so I'm going to, oh, how do I do my full screen again? Oh gosh, I just did it. Sorry guys. Oh, enter full screen, there we go. Okay, excellent. Is everyone seeing that? Yes?
Yeah, it looks great. And Sarah, there also Lucy Julia Hale is leaving.
Yes.
So maybe she can talk at the beginning at some point. Just
Oh, sure. Actually, yeah. Well, let's. Do you know what? This was Michael's. Michael, I hope you don't mind. Can we do her first, just so that I don't forget? Let's see. You said Lucy Julia Hale. I believe. Is this the correct one? Again, I'm going off memory here, guys. So I apologize. Is she here? Are we hearing her? Lucy, are you muted? Okay, give her 2 more seconds. Lucy,
She's losing electricity. She's losing power. So she may have lost power.
okay. All right. Well, then we will. Let me know, Lucy, and Vera, let me know actually in the comments because I can't see anymore since I'm sharing my screen. So just let me know if she messages me. So we will start with Michael. Michael, I saw you were on the list. Are you here with us?
Yes.
Excellent. So yeah, if you want to speak just for a couple minutes about your work.
Thank you very much. I voted at the Florida State Capitol for 25 years. The legislature meets for 60 days every year. And I got permission to be between the House and the Senate on the 4th floor rotunda, have a sculpting stand and just a director's chair to sit in. And my only restriction was I could not do anything risque. So I did portraits, and in 2000, with the ballot fiasco that occurred in the Bush election, I sculpted my hand holding a Palm Beach ballot. And if you remember, that was a paper ballot, computer punched, so that if the punch didn't go all the way through but made a dent, it was called a pregnant Chad. If it punched but not completely through and one side left or right was left hanging, it was a hanging Chad. And there were some famous photographs of politicians and poll workers holding the ballot up to see if they could see through the ballot daylight that would indicate that the person was voting for a particular candidate. So Teresa Lepore was the supervisor of election in Palm Beach, and Palm Beach was a central location for this. So she sent me a sample ballot that had not been punched, along with the sample ballot if you were filling it out on paper. I turned around and had that ballot recreated in brass and then sculpted my hand and cast it in bronze. The particular copy that's up in the exhibit is a polyresin copy. And the value on that was set at $750. The bronze copies are about $3,000. But I limited the edition to 67. Now, why not 50? Why not 100? There are 67 counties in Florida. So if you bought Leon County, not only would it say casting the ballot, Mike Jernigan, it would have the word Leon on the arm. Teresa Lepore bought Palm Beach County. So that started, and I've sold maybe 30 of those individual counties to legislators and lobbyists and others, but had a great time. Yeah. And thinking about this exhibit, it's like, oh, I hope we don't go through this again, because it's very funny, quick story. this happened in November. In December, and very quick, in December, I got on a TV show up in New York, like Curtis Court, where I had sold a horse trailer to a lady who did not pay me for it. And I filed a small claims in Leon County. Well, they called me up one day from New York and said, we found out about this horse trailer and you and this lady, would you come up here and fight it out in court? So I did. My daughter was living in the area. She'd gone to Harvard and was up in New York. So we went up there, and when the judge was ruling about this, he made the comment, said, Mr. Jernigan, do you have any final saying about this horse trailer and the money you didn't get? And keep in mind, the November election had just happened. This was the 1st of December. I said, Your Honor, we're both from Tallahassee, Florida. There is no reason to do a recount here. She owes me the money. I thought the judge would fall out of his chair just from the recount comment that I'd made. But I had a lot of fun doing this. It was got a lot of comments as I was creating it on the 4th floor with the lobbyists and the legislators who would come around telling me, well, look, you need to actually punch the ballot. So I got a machine created out of Canada that I could punch that brass ballot if you had voted Democrat or if you had voted Republican. I
Wow.
could do it either way.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's wonderful. I'm going to go next to, I believe this is Myra Eastman. I'm realizing, I apologize there. Vera, I'm realizing I can't see my list at the same time. Let me see, of who's with us.
Do you want to leave the full screen so you can see
that was that. Here. Let me, sorry. Oh, gosh. There we go. Okay, got too many things going at once. All right. Oh gosh. All right.
Struggle is real.
Sorry guys, the struggle is real. Oh.
Well, where's the wine when we need it? You know, like normally we would be just hanging out at the gallery with a glass of wine.
You don't have the list of who's in the chat?
So I have the list. So whom are you looking for? They are here. Just say the word.
Myra?
Myra. Do we have Myra?
We'll keep going, I guess. So Carol Williams? Do we have her with us?
Oh, there is Myra. Myra Singhal.
Who's supposed to be?
Myra, are you here?
That's not me. I'm just Pam's daughter.
Sorry.
So we'll go on to Carol Williams.
That's cool.
Are we seeing her in the list? I apologize. I thought I could scroll through quick when I was in this format.
I don't see Williams, but it could be also.
Pamela Bice, I know I let in.
Yes, hold on.
Yeah. Excellent.
Hi, I'm here.
Hi. I'm so sorry. I can't get my, hang on. Here. Oh, okay.
Okay.
Do that at least for now. Okay.
All right. When I saw the call for entries and the subject matter, right to vote, I decided to start researching it. Unfortunately, in the photograph, you can't read the quote, which is on the bottom of the hanging. But when I was researching it, I can read it so people can see it. It says, it's from Kate Shepherd. She was a suffragist from New Zealand. And the quote says, "Do not think your single vote does not matter much. The rain that refreshes the parched ground is made up of single drops." While I was researching, I came across it was actually a gardening article. And they were talking about the American suffrage movement, and that they planted gardens with the colors purple, yellow, and white flowers in support of the campaign. And that was their colors. And no one really knew that because all the photographs we've ever seen are black and white. So I knew I had that color is what I wanted to use. And when I read that quote, I realized it is as relevant today as it was back then, because so many people are disenfranchised, feel that their vote doesn't matter. And so that's why I came up with this. Now, my one cousin said when she looked at it, she said the white part on the top of the water with the big purple drop to her looked like Ruth Bader Ginsburg, or a tribute to her. And I said, well, that was a happy accident because that's not what I had intended, but I'm glad it's there. So, and I've just been thrilled to be part of this show.
And thank you so much. Wonderful. So next, it's not going to let me. All right, computer. I apologize, guys. So Rusty can't be with us. I'll scroll through them really quick. These are some of his wonderful photographs that he did. So I'll scroll through those. We have Kale. Was Kale able to? Kale, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Let's see. We'll keep going. Vera, if I miss somebody and they are here and it just takes them a minute, I'm going to go kind of quickly, but have them message and just let me know. So then Casey Magar, I believe I did let in. Let's see. Casey. We'll keep going. Stephen? Stephen here? Oh.
No, doesn't look like.
Not yet. Okay. And here, oh, is this going? Okay. Oop. All right, there we go. All right, sorry about that. And we have Al here. Is Al with us? I'm not hearing Al. And David. So we have this wonderful piece by David Weed. This is one of our interactive pieces where each of these gets flipped back and forth. The lights go on and you get to cast your vote. So that's one of our really wonderful interactive pieces. So this one is Barbara's. Yep, Barbara Brandel. I'm just double checking, guys. I apologize. Do we have Barbara with us? All right, we're gonna keep going. Perfect. And we have Eddie Bruckner. He had confirmed. We have no Eddie? Oh, darn, okay. And Oren. These are some wonderful collage pieces by Oren Carpenter from California. Mary? We had her with us.
I'm here. I just unmuted.
Oh, Victoria, I'm so sorry. I'm reading. I apologize. Yes.
Okay.
Wonderful. So yes, if you'd like to speak a little bit about this.
Sure. So I just want to say thanks so much for hosting this show. It's a fabulous show, and for including my portrait here of Mary E. Jackson, who is a champion for women's suffrage. So I've been interested in history of women's suffrage movement and women's rights in general since I did some research for a commission that I worked on at the Women's Rights National Historic Park in Seneca Falls, New York, about 30 years ago. And it was a commission of 20 life-size bronze figures that represented the people who attended the first Women's Rights Convention in 1848 in Seneca Falls. And I didn't know anything about women's rights before this, and it was an eye-opening experience for me to learn about these amazing women, Stanton and Anthony and all of these people, Maud, who were so determined and courageous, who stood up against great odds to take back their rights and freedoms. And of course, we know the prominent movers and shakers, as I mentioned, Anthony, Elizabeth Cady Stanton, Alice Paul, Julia Ward Howe, and so many others. But there were also thousands of women, ordinary women all across the country who worked and campaigned for the 19th Amendment and the right to vote, and we never hear about them. And part of the reason, and maybe one of the reasons that this might happen, is because the National Women's Suffrage Association and the American Women's Suffrage Association actively discouraged Black women and other minorities from joining. These organizations were run mostly by white middle-class women. And they believed at the time that to get the Southern vote to support the 19th Amendment, they could not appear to integrate Black women into their organization. And as we look back on that today, of course, we can see that it was really an unfortunate situation, certainly not something to be proud of, but it did happen. So I feel as an artist that I now have the opportunity to bring forward some of these women for us to consider and to honor the work that they did. They're just as much role models as the more famous women. So when I was doing research, I wanted to look for a Rhode Island woman and a Black woman, and it's pretty difficult to find information about Black suffragists in Rhode Island. There just is not a lot of information out there. But I did run across Mary E. Jackson, and importantly, I found photographs of her as well so that I could use as reference. It's not easy to find photographs either. And Mary was an important suffragist and worker in Rhode Island. She was a founding member of the Providence NAACP. She wrote for the NAACP magazine, The Crisis, about working conditions for Black employees, particularly women, and about the vote for women, stating in one of her articles, "All objections to the ballot for women are but protests against progress, civilization, and good sense." She was the president of the Rhode Island Association of Colored Women's Clubs for 8 years and led the suffrage movement with the National Association of Colored Women. And so I'm hoping that with this portrait that I can inspire all of us to look to some of these unsung heroes of the women's movement, and that we can appreciate the hard battle that it was and still is for us to enjoy our rights and we participating in our learning about the issues and by getting out there and voting.
Excellent. Thank you. That was wonderful. And so, again, next, so then we have Kathleen Greco.
Yep.
Is she with
Here I
us?
am.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Welcome. Yes. Thank you.
1 second, can we see the corresponding artwork?
Can you see it?
Is it not loading for you?
My screen, I saw the last artist, but not her work. For the last 2 artists, I didn't see work.
Yeah, I can see the screen
I can
share.
see it. Yeah.
It's try to switch your setting only to view, to see both speaker and share screen.
Speakers.
Oh,
side-by-side mode. I have side-by-side mode. That works.
Perfect.
Right.
Thank you.
I was gonna say no one else is having issues, right? If so, please let me know. Good. Thanks.
I think it's because I'm you put me as an operating person,
Okay.
which was definitely not my strength.
All right. Yeah. So we'll have Kathleen. Sorry about that.
Okay. Okay. Thanks for this event, and I'm honored to be part of this amazing exhibition with these amazing artists. I love seeing the artwork and hearing the stories and ideas about how the artists made the work. I love that. With this work, I just want to start with, in American history, the American flag has been used at different times for different themes. After the 2016 election, I noticed the flag was being used as a device to encourage pro-right ideology. And during 2016 and 2018 midterm election, I noticed issues of voter suppression, voter intimidation, and gerrymandering. I live in Pennsylvania, which is a really important state, and there are American flags everywhere. And usually, ironically, they seem to be on the right side of the road and the left. Just kind of noticed that. Interesting. Anyway, so I wanted to use the American flag in my studio practice to reframe its symbolism for democracy. So I started to collect American flags. I collected new flags in the store, and then I realized that I started to collect the flags. If I went to my township, that they were going to burn American flags. People turned them into the township. So I went to my local town and I asked about the flags, and the clerk said, yeah, we have American flags and they're going to be burned. I said, well, do you have any? She said, yeah, we have a whole little collection. I said, can I have them? She said, yeah, you can have them. I said, because I will take care of them and I will preserve them, which I am, but I'm using them for political purposes. So she doesn't know what I'm doing with the flags. So when she gets a collection of flags, she calls me. I go over there, I pick up the flags, and they're old, they're worn, sometimes they're ripped. They're beautiful. They're just beautiful to me. They have so much history in them. So what I'm doing is I do different types. I do works on paper. I do photography. I do installations. So with these flags, I did a series of photographs. I use this specific collection from 2016 to the present, 2020, in my photography practice as part of my inquiry into social political issues, including disenfranchisement, voter suppression, immigration, and abortion. Those are some themes that I research. So I often in my photography use my own body. I do have models sometimes I use, but I like using my body because I feel really connected to the issues at hand when I'm investigating a particular issue. And also, I can control what I'm doing with the photograph. I have it on a timer, and if I want to go back into the set and move like a little bit or adjust something, it does take a lot longer to do it that way, but I feel like I have more control. And in that control, I want to control the outcome as far as the message that I'm trying to do with the work and what I'm investigating. So I was excited to find about the right to vote, examining themes of strengthening voter rights, disenfranchisement, low voter participation, and voter population. So with my work being political, it's not often that I find a feminist gallery or gallery that is addressing these issues. So when I saw the open call, I was really excited about it. There has definitely been acts of voter suppression, and that's a term that is often used, voter suppression, in the past, and very much so currently happening in the 2020 election. The definition of suppression means stoppage or reduction or repression. I titled this photograph voter oppression, because oppression means state of being subject to unjust treatment or control for a prolonged period of time. Prolonged. So that was important in the wording of the definition to title this, because what I'm doing is I'm accounting for the decades of challenges facing women voters since the ratification of the 19th Amendment, granting women the right to vote, to the present. Thank you.
Thank you. That's amazing. I love hearing, honestly, all of these stories. Like I get your artist statements and things, but getting to hear these extra little bits is really just wonderful and powerful. All right. Oop. I keep clicking on Zoom and then it won't let me. Okay. Naomi?
I'm here.
Oh, excellent.
Hi, Sarah. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm excited to be included. I want to echo what everyone else is saying. I think there are similar thoughts that people are having about the work that was created for this exhibit. So I created this piece in February, actually during like the craziest month of our semester. I'm a professor in Idaho and I teach art, and we were having our fundraiser, and all of a sudden I saw a call from West Virginia University Libraries talking about the fact that they were making actually button designs and graphic designs part of a complete exhibition about voter suppression since women's suffrage. And so it spoke to me so much that I was up at like midnight working on this piece, because I felt it was important when something sparks my interest to kind of jump on it. So this piece, I embroidered it in the biggest hoop I could find to reference an actual like political button. And the reason I chose this topic for voter suppression was because I really wanted to pick something that was applicable to me as an artist. So I think there are more important themes, but in terms of, you know, I've changed my name multiple times in my adult life for various reasons. And so voter suppression happens a lot with anyone who's had to change their name for multiple reasons, or they've changed genders, or other things have happened that suppress people's votes. And so that's why I chose the topic. And then I embroidered it because the history of embroidery and women's work are just tied hand in hand for me. I am a fiber artist, so it comes naturally to me. But I was doing some research and I read an article about women suffragists in prison who weren't allowed to have paper, and they were on a hunger strike, and they were locked up and they couldn't talk to each other, but they weren't denied the ability to embroider on their handkerchiefs. So they were embroidering their names as a record of who was imprisoned at those times and why they were in prison. So that really spoke to me strongly, and so that's why I made this.
Wow, that's fantastic. Oh, thank you. Go. Oh yeah. Okay. So Gigi, Salij, and there's a couple of them here. These three go together. So
yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes. Welcome.
Hi. Hello from California.
Thanks for being here.
I am super thrilled to be here. I'm very inspired by this show and by the work I'm seeing. It's the best party I've been to in a long time. These three pieces, this triptych was actually originally part of a bigger show. I had 50-some screen prints for a show called We Wait, which was at the Harrison Center in Indianapolis, that opened on March 9th, which means that it closed about a week late. And so that you were able to find some room for these prints, even if it's a small section of them. I hope that they still give the feeling that the show conveyed. It was 50-some screen prints of women of different ages, races, stations in life, waiting in different postures of waiting, ostensibly waiting to vote, but waiting for a lot of other things as well. I'm always visited by the thought of the patience of women waiting to vote, waiting more than 150 years after the founding of the Republic, 70 years after Seneca Falls, 50 years after the Reconstruction Amendments, for their right to vote to be recognized. And it's clear to me, and I think clear to all, that we're still waiting. I think you probably, I'm telling you what you already know, which is that only about 7% of Fortune 500 CEOs are women. Only about a quarter of legislators in our country are women. Only 9 states have women governors. The average woman makes about 80 cents for every dollar a man makes. Most low-wage workers are women. A woman is far, far more likely to live in poverty than a man is in this country. And we're not making progress at the rate we need to. In fact, we're sliding backwards a little bit. At the current rate of progress, no little girl living today is going to live in a gender equal America, and neither will her daughter. So the theme of waiting, the patience of women, perhaps too much patience among women, was what this pieces were about.
Oh, thank you. That's beautiful. And yeah, part of the installation of these is they are very close together. And so it really does convey this idea of them standing in line all together, waiting. And I actually loved that, is that they do feel like a little unit of all of them waiting there together. So it totally, I wish we could have had all 50. Oh my God.
I'm so glad you made room for them. Thanks so much.
Of course. Oh yeah, and so Felice, I know I let Felice in earlier. I hope he's still with us.
I am. I'm right here. Hi, everybody.
Hi, hello.
Thank you so much for having my work in the show. I was delighted to find the call for entry. Back in probably midterm elections, I was in a similar show called Vote, and there's a doily that has French knots in the type of maybe the 1920s on a doily that might be period and not period piece. And I was thinking ahead to the 100th year anniversary. I was thinking about the fact that more women vote than men in presidential elections, in particular since, I don't know, since the 80s or since 64, or it's been a long time. So since I made this piece in 2018, and I hadn't embroidered since I was a kid, I've been embroidering. I've been embroidering doilies about equal wages since the passing of the Equal Wage Act in 1964, and I've been collecting doilies for another piece, and I've just been taken about this and thinking about women's history and thinking about all the women that had to do work like this, women's work. You know, and thinking now that our work is to continue to vote. So these pieces are in respect, in, you know, in memory of, in all the women that have come before us and have done, you know, who have allowed us to be where we are, and we have a long way to go. So the 2 votes for women, just, I couldn't help myself. I just took a break from what I was doing and embroidered those on these 2 doilies. So I think it's a great show. I've been enjoying everything I've been hearing, and just thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. And so we have Stephen. Let's see, is Stephen with us? I didn't see him in our group. Yeah, Vera, keep me posted again if anyone lets me know. Larry Tillman. I think he was not able to join us either. And Nicholas Tisdale, do we have Nicholas here? This is a really awesome 4-color lithograph, actually, which I didn't realize until I was really doing all of the labels and everything. I was like, holy cow. So that's a really beautiful print that we have. And Jenny. So we have these 2 wonderful pieces.
Hello.
Hi. Oh.
Thank you so much for having this exhibit and this show. I'm from the San Francisco Bay Area. I live in Richmond, California. I love Richmond. And I've curated exhibits, and currently I'm the Arts and Culture Commission Managing Director of Contra Costa County, and I did not make up that title, but it's a long one. And I understand the time it takes in doing online programs because I'm an educator too. And so when I see the work you've done, it looks so much easier than it is, but it really isn't. So thank you so much.
It's not even hard. It's just time consuming. All of it, and the tech stuff, all of a sudden you have a million ways for things to go wrong.
Exactly. It's like, okay. And I want to say that I actually know Orrin Carpenter, who you passed over his artworks. We went to school together. He is an incredible artist and advocate and educator here in the Bay Area. So I feel really proud to be included in his space. So that's really amazing. So I started this Braille series in, I think 2016, but this is a new body of work. And in my art practice, I'm just, I'm fascinated in alternative realities and perspectives. In the last 4 years, it's just been a wealth of inspiration, unwanted, but we got it. And I like to really repurpose, objects in my art practice because I'm a multidisciplinary artist, from objects to video to name it. I let the idea and the inspiration dictate the final form. So I don't mess around with one medium. I just don't have the attention span for it. So I go with the idea and where it leads me. And so this body of work was inspired by Lady Justice. And if you know the symbol, she's blindfolded and she has a scale in one hand and a sword in another. And she sort of represents that, power and status and money really has no influence. And as we know in our voting system, in our structures, they sure as heck do. And so with this work, I don't want the audience to touch it. Even though when I've displayed my Braille pieces, they want to touch it and they get angry because I won't let them touch it, because that's sort of like what justice is in our current status here in America. It's not equal for everybody, and not everybody is afforded the same opportunity. And I think with the terms of this concept of the show, I think we have to acknowledge that, 1920 didn't mark the time of equal representation for all individuals and women in this country, and that we're still fighting for that today, that it was just, a beginning, it was a inflection point, but we're still hoping that in this election that it's not a popular vote. It's an electoral college system that was, in my opinion, built on systematic racism. So I really truly believe that we have to get maybe 6 or 7 or 8 million more votes to maybe win an election. And so until those systems are reevaluated, that really what does equality look for everybody? I believe as citizens, we must continue to organize, question, and demand the highest standards to preserve truth and justice. And this body of work, it's, has different sayings on it. And this one is my choice, my body, and the other one is vote. And I think with our recent Supreme Court justice, we're going to find out in a few months. So thank you so much for having this exhibit. And I just want everybody to hope that they take some self-care and be ready for some good battles in the future.
Thank you. That's such words of wisdom, honestly. I think we all need to remember the self-care part too. It's so easy to burn out when things feel overwhelming and there's always more to do. So yeah, I appreciate that. So we have our other Barbara. Actually, do we have 3 Barbaras in this show? No, we have 2. So I believe I let her in.
Yes, I'm here.
Hi.
Hi. Hi, everyone. So thank you, Sarah, and thank you, Hera Gallery, for including me in the show. I'm very happy to be here. So briefly about my work, I'm a painter mostly, and I usually paint an autobiographical character that represents what it is like to live in the female body in contemporary society. And I also make a lot of references to the female identity. As far, I should back up a second. So the overarching theme in my work is the female body, but I also touch on topics of social class and race and culture. So when I saw the Hera's call for art for this particular show, this painting came to mind. I guess because, well, first of all, I do see painting as a kind of subversive act. And I guess I see it that way because, as an artist, artists are always putting a spotlight on very uncomfortable topics that are not fun to talk about in everyday life. So that in and of itself feels somewhat subversive to me. This particular painting is of these 2 colonial ladies, and they feel somewhat subversive to me. On the one hand, they're very much colonial ladies wearing their bonnets and their embroidered dresses. But also they're sort of performing this gender, they're gender as performative, which is why I have the curtains in this particular painting. They are, I guess they are satirizing the cultural construct that is in place for them. So, on the one hand, they're very ladylike, but on the other hand, they are, they're laughing at their situation, and they're having a good time doing it. Yeah, I think that's it. I'm not sure what else to say other than another thing that comes to mind for me is as I'm listening to all the artists talk about women having patience and women not being able to do certain things, I couldn't help but think of this wonderful essay by the revered art historian Linda Nochlin, and she writes this essay. I believe it was Linda Nochlin. I confuse her with Griselda Pollock, but I think it was Nochlin. She writes the essay, Why There Were No Great Women Artists, and she gives so many interesting examples of why there were no great women artists. But the one particular example that stands out to me is that women were not allowed to draw the nude figure. And, you know, if you think back in the day, drawing the nude figure was the skill that an artist needed in order to be successful as an artist. And women were not allowed to be exposed to the naked body. They weren't allowed to enter the classroom. They weren't allowed their education. And of course, the hypocrisy there is just so incredible, because it's a woman who is naked modeling, right? But of course, she comes from she's not, the model is not of the bourgeois class, right? She is a lowly, comes from a lowly level. So yeah, so I don't know. I think that's all I have to say. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Barbara. That was wonderful. Excellent. So next we have Pauline. Pauline Houdel-Smith, are you here with us? She did these two amazing digital posters, the vote. So this is the 19th Amendment poster that she did, and grab back poster, which this one is wonderful. So I think we will continue. She was leaving early, Vera. I think we probably lost her. That was Lucy. And Meredith. Do we have Meredith Cheatwood with us? We do not. All right, well, that is our slideshow. We do have two other things I am going to share with you, which are video based, and I'm going to just show a quick little bit of each. So we're going to go to Joan and here we go. Oop. Let's see if I can get this going. So actually, yeah, I have you guys with me. Do you want to introduce yourselves first and speak quickly, and then I'll show just maybe 15 or 20 seconds of the piece.
Do you want to stop sharing, Sarah, or I have it frozen? Maybe it's just me.
Oh, is it? Let me see.
Do you want to stop sharing and reshare the video?
Yes. Okay, that's right. Okay. Just look at these quick. Okay. And computer sound. Okay. So this should share sound right through my computer.
The title of this performance is Good Trouble Bucket. It was inspired by the words of Martin Luther King Jr. He invited the 17-year-old John Lewis to join the 1965 Civil Rights March in Selma, Alabama.
John Lewis, worried he would get into trouble, was reassured that this would be good trouble, that it was necessary for change to happen. Art, too, is political. It calls us out.
I think what comes up for me in terms of our roles in the piece would be collaboration. The power of collaboration in delivering a very powerful message addressing issues of suppression and oppression.
So I'm going to pause it only because this is such a phenomenal video, and I think it deserves the full viewing experience. But I'm going to let Gloria and Joan just talk a little bit about making the video and the piece. It's about, I believe, a 6-minute video, which we have available in our Art Steps gallery, which I'm also going to share again at the end of this talk. But yeah, Gloria and Joan.
Hi, everybody. This is really an honor to be in this show. What a beautiful variety of interpretations and influences of what women have been doing over all these years, and the influence we've had on the world, and where we're headed. And I think it's in a really positive direction. And your gallery is just a fabulous example of that. So it's really a fabulous show, and particularly love how you've used the new technologies of moving through the gallery space. And we could actually see the video playing and then clicking on it. Oh my God. And then we went right to the video. I've never seen that work like that before. So thank you for that.
I have to give a quick shout out to our gallery VP, Chad, who honestly found Art Steps. He's a MFA at Goddard University, and they had used that for their master's review. They did a show there, and so he spearheaded that whole virtual gallery project. So as Mara had said in the very beginning, it's always such a group effort. And so, you know, he was here with me taking photos of the work and figuring out how to format stuff to get it onto Art Steps. It was a lot of fun, and yeah, it makes it so accessible for everybody.
Awesome. And we really appreciate that you're going to continue to post on social media so that we can all share and connect each other. And I think one of the themes as I'm listening to all of you that I'd like to reflect back on and share is this whole idea of having the right to vote, and what happens if you don't have the right to vote.
Like me.
And so that had a huge impact on me when I met Gloria. And so this performance piece, you know, has many layers to it. And I want Gloria to certainly to speak to that, what that feels like to be in the United States and not having the right to vote, and how it's another part of our responsibility is to bring attention to that situation and to speak out. And
right, because just because I don't have the ability to vote, it doesn't mean that I can't connect with others. I feel like as artists, it's always important for us to point the finger at the things that are wrong, because art does become a different type of language that we could share with others. So working on this piece with Joan allowed me to do that, to really connect. Somebody said earlier how difficult it is as artists to bring political work into the art field, where it's more aesthetically pleasing type of artwork that gets more of the attention. So it is really important that as artists, we are moving into this space, because art does bring this different tool for us to be able to communicate with others.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So for those of you who may not have seen the full video, the central piece that's in the middle of the installation is a bucket that's turned upside down. You saw us carrying water in the bucket there for a moment, but in the center is a large bucket turned upside down, and on top of it is the stack of papers that Gloria has collected over the years having to do with DACA.
Right, it was my package that I submitted as my DACA application. And here we are with the president who won't even show us his tax papers. Like, come on, right?
So, yeah. It's pretty significant. We were just really fortunate because we too, this big, huge show that our piece, our installation alone took up close to 1,000 square feet. That's how much space each artist was given in this warehouse space that was unfinished in downtown Phoenix. And we were all like ecstatic. It's like, whoever gets that much space for one installation, let alone 15 of us were there. And So we had this discussion, do we go on with the gala, or because it was our big one event that year for the arts organization that we're part of in the Maricopa, which is, you know, the overarching population of Arizona, basically. So once we had decided that it was too risky with COVID just hitting the streets, right? We all decided that we had worked so hard on these large installations that each of us, we gave each of us a date and a part of a day to do our installation. We needed 3 days for ours, but we were able to work it out. And then we hired a videographer to videotape us doing the performance that we were and had planned to do in front of 400, 500 people. So it was really interesting because somebody else earlier had mentioned how the COVID, it doesn't have to be this horrible negative experience if you think creatively with it, because we ended up with this opportunity to videotape that we may not have, it just wouldn't have happened in the same way. So we feel like that was a unique situation. And we've since posted it on Vimeo, so it's easy to access. And the comments people have made over this just the last several months has been overwhelming, just very touching and moving. So we are very appreciative of Lauren's including us in this show.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you both. It's wonderful. And yeah, I strongly urge everyone to go through the art steps and watch it. And actually, you know what? I'm going to post, as you guys said, that I'll put the Vimeo link right on, if it's okay with both of you, right on to the gallery page as well. Just in case, because I know some people were having some issues loading art steps, fast enough for video or whatnot. But excellent. Well, thank you both. And then the last piece that I wanted to show is by Mary, who is actually one of our special cases. She was selected. We were all set to ship work. And she unfortunately found out a piece that she had shipped many times and was completely affordable now was going to cost her something like $400 each way to ship to us. And she called us and said, I want to be a part of this, but this is impossible. And so I said, you'll be a part of our talk. You'll still get to show work. You'll be in everything but in person. And so even that is actually such a wonderful example of how we can continue to show artwork of people that aren't even in the state, or they, the artwork can't be here. And so again, it just, it really makes everything so accessible. And so I am going to just one more time quickly share my screen. Her piece is actually interactive. And so she has a small video in the space where it was being used. And let's see, actually, Mary, if you want to start talking while I pull it up.
Okay. Thank you. Sorry about the mask, you guys, but I have my teen students here watching this, our future strong feminist artists, and they're really enjoying hearing everything that you guys have to say. I didn't realize they didn't know what performance art was. So thank you so much, and forgive me if I seemed like I was scattered.
Not at all.
Yes, this is it. This piece was real important to me. I really feel like as women that we are in this together, and I feel like there's a lot of secret society that keeps us from speaking out about things that happen to us and injustices. And it feels like every time we try to speak out, someone's trying to silence us. And I feel like the silencing for me personally has happened over things in my past. Every time I go to talk about it, I feel either shame, or I look around and there's somebody that I don't want to expose, or there's things that I feel like cannot be shared. So this was a very important piece of mine because it's done of one of my students who was coming out of pride of her lesbianism. She came out with pride one day and wore this bow, and we were all so happy for her. And I thought, you've gone your whole life with people silencing you. And I felt it was, I felt it went with this show, because I feel like women, we all have been just silenced by our culture so much, and that we're all tired of it. And we're tired of the silence. So this bottom piece is shredded paper, and the women actually get to go in, or anybody, they write down what it is that they have been ashamed of, or what people have tried to make them feel shame for, why they are silenced, and they write it down and they shred it so that we can see as a group that is filled with pieces of paper with writing on it. And the participants, I want it to get so full that it just overspills and just starts spilling out onto the floor. And the individual little strips are embroidered. It says shh, S-H-H-H. And the whole piece is, it's called Shh No More. It's about, we're tired of being quiet, and you can keep trying, but we're not going to be quiet anymore.
I love that. That's so wonderful. So here, I'll play this. I was just waiting because I didn't know if there was audio. I didn't want to go over you. Can everyone see? Oh, shoot, did I screw it up? Can everyone still see?
I usually have instructions here telling people what to do, but I'm not that much about it. I want to on their story and their life, and I have to write on it what they want to do. The bottom portion of the bottom part is always for the public, and the top part is my statement.
Excellent. So that's, yes, wonderful. And then this is,
it was really funny that I found pink paper shredders that you can hold by hand.
That's amazing. And I love that you're actually shredding it by hand. You're not letting something else do it for you. That's wonderful.
It's kind of therapeutic, isn't it? The participants really got into this. I had some people cry. I had people come up to me and tell me that it was therapeutic.
That I can so see that. I mean, it really is. It's something physical. You're writing out something that's, you know, personal or emotional, or, you know, whatever the case may be. And so it is sort of validating or cathartic in a way. I can totally.
And even though you're shredding it yourself, I mean, that was something that I thought, do I want to make them shred it themselves? And I thought, yes, because I want them to see all the shredding that we've had to go through as a collective group. So as it builds and builds and builds, there's a lot of shredded paper in there. And I want all the women in the audience to see how many women feel like they've been silenced about something in their life, and how they're just tired of it, and they're owning it, and they shred it, and they walk away, sharing it in their own way.
100%. I think that's wonderful. We are pretty much finished. I did see we had one artist log in quick. I wanted to see. It looks like he logged off. I was gonna chat with him. If Stephen Justice, are you here still? I'm not seeing you on our list anymore. He must have logged off. Okay, I was hoping I could catch him. I saw him log in quick. But yeah, so that's all of our artists. I wanted to leave just a little bit of time for some questions, but I also am more than willing. People can put them into the chat. You can ask me them. You can also feel free to email me any questions you have, you know, general or specifics for artists, and I'm more than happy to connect people with artists, artists with artists, members with artists, whoever you know, wants that connection, because I think that's ultimately what this is all about, is that connection. But yeah, I'll open it up, you know, if anyone has any questions. Yeah, Gloria, oh, and you're just muted, so here, let me, let's see, yeah.
Good?
Yes, good.
Okay, great. So
I was just wondering if you had plans for Lauren to do a juror's statement that you'll either record or write out and then post.
So the written, yeah, she has a statement that is on our website. If you look, it's towards the bottom of the text there. She wrote, yeah, a really lovely statement about her experience during the show. Yep, it should be right on the main page there.
Oh, wonderful, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Any other questions?
Can I say something, Sarah?
Yeah, I was gonna say start to interrupt because I am scrolling through to see hands raised, but just start to, yeah. Uli,
I can't see that, so I don't want to intercept anybody. So
no, go for it. Go for it.
Are you sure? I just want to say my name is Uli Brahms. I'm currently president of Hera Gallery. And thank you for all the appreciation you give to the gallery. And thank you for jurying, for Sarah, for always managing all of us. And thank you for all the artists who come forward and that you offer to participate, but also that you offer to participate in this artist talk with such authenticity, and really being very personal in this somewhat impersonal format. We are not in the gallery together. So it takes a little, I feel, extra, okay, I'm gonna step out of my comfort zone and share what's important to me. And that makes really this talk so deep and meaningful for all of us. And I really like to thank you very much for that.
Thank you, Uli. I think honestly that was beautifully said. Unless anyone has other questions, I'd leave it at that. I'm gonna scroll through quick. I'd say, just speak out if you have any questions. I think we're good.
I also would like to, because I don't think I did this before, just congratulate all of the artists in this show. I really enjoyed hearing the stories behind these works. Don't get all that information just from looking at them. So I really appreciated you sharing your individual stories, and I think that's really sort of what makes this show great, is that you do have all of these very individual points of view that all sort of come together and sort of speak to this bigger experience. So thank you.
Thank you all so much. And so is there, I was gonna say, anybody else? I don't want to leave anyone hanging here. Anyone feeling left out? See, I'm seeing heads shaking. No, we're all feeling good. So I'm going to end this with actually dropping a link into our chat, which is the link to our Art Steps gallery. And so this is our first sort of unofficial closing reception that we will hold. Very informal, it is not mandatory, but feel free to go and check out our Art Steps gallery, which does have all of the work. You can read artist statements, and it's just such a cool platform. So I'd even say after you look at our show, check out other shows. There's shows from all over the world on it. So it's really, really wonderful. And that link and everything pretty much we've talked about, you can find either on our website, or you can always email me, info@Hera Gallery, but all of that's on the website. So yeah, thank you all so much. I'll drop that link below. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Have a good evening. Thank you. I'm going to stay while I post this up. Thank you all.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you. Go. All right. Art Steps.
Sarah, I did post it while you talked.
Did you? Okay. Thank you. I was going to say
you wouldn't have time to do that.
To the website, but it doesn't hurt to put it in there. Awesome. Excellent. Well, thank you all so much. That was really wonderful, and thank you for being patient with us. It's a little odd doing art talks like this, but
you did great.
Wonderful. So,
You can stop recording, Sarah, too.
Oh, yeah, you're right.